I'm here with Mr. Mark Webb, Vice President of Facilities Development and Project Management with University Health System. I got your title right.
You got it right.
I know it was I wouldn't say an issue last week, but
it's very long.
A man of your importance, I don't know how you forget your title. At least abbreviated like mine. There's so many of them. Mark, welcome back to the Money Talk Show. Like we were previously talking, this is you're a veteran.
I am. This is my third year.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me back.
Welcome back. I believe so much has progressed since our initial interview 2 years ago till now. Lots have happened. Like you mentioned before, you've hired, you've done some construction, you've had some kickoffs, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that if you can. As mentioned this morning in our opening remarks, Mr. Hernandez was CEO with University Health System, was talking about Bexar County's new hospital that's going on, $900 million project.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to put you on the spot, but you are the man for that. And let's talk about where you were 2 years ago to where you are now, and the project itself.
Sure. Yeah. Since my last confession 2 years ago, we've hired all of our project managers, program managers, the architects, engineers, and the general contractors. We haven't hired all of the subs and all of the firms that'll be helping implement the work, but we're currently at the hospital campus, which is about an $800 million project in and of itself. We broke ground in March on the 3,300 space parking garage. And this December, at the end of the year, later this month, the contractor, ZVL, is going to turn over close to 800 of those spaces. Okay. The balance of those spaces will be done next August. But the biggest piece of the work, which is the hospital tower, hasn't started yet. We break ground for that in January. And so there'll be quite a few packages that'll be coming out on the street in the coming months and through next year and into 2012. Now downtown, which is about $130 million worth of work, we actually break ground next week on the 16th for the 260,000 square foot clinical services building.
Okay.
And so for the next 2 years, there will be a considerable number of bid packages coming out from Bartlett Koch for various trades work. The only thing that's been awarded so far is related to the pier and foundation work for the new clinic building. But beyond that, there's still a lot of work to be bid out and a lot of work for tradespeople and others on those projects.
If you can, I know you've mentioned the ZVL partnership. If you can break that out and then also talk about the downtown campus, who your contractor is chosen for that, and let the audience know, let them know who they are, where they can be found, which we'll let you know. They're right in front of us down this road. There's representatives at their booth. But if you could just talk about the joint venture, that make up that joint venture and who they are. And then also, leading into that, why many of you are here and interested in listening to Mr. Mark Webb and what this conference is all about is they have some very ambitious goals.
We do.
And I'm going to let Mark talk about that, what those goals are, and in addition to who the contractors are, the major players for this particular project.
Right. We do have very ambitious goals. For the medical center campus, the around $800 million project, our SMWBE goal is 40%, and our local participation goal is 80%. Now, you can find representatives from ZVL, and that's Zachary, Vaughn, and Layton. Zachary, you of course know who that is. They're a local contractor. Vaughn is a contractor out of Houston, but a large local presence. And then Layton is new to the marketplace. They're a larger out of the Salt Lake area. And so those are our goals. The booth, or directly to my right, is the one for ZVL and their representatives there. The key person related to our SMWBE program is Chris Webb, and I think he's over at the booth right now. He looks a lot like me. He's bald.
The three of us.
Follically challenged. And so and they've got other people working on our SMWBE program, but Chris is the main lead for that. And downtown, you all know of Bartlett Koch, a strong local contractor that's been doing work in San Antonio for a very long time, and they've got representatives. Doug Dorsey is the main point of contact for that project, but then also Anita Martin, who used to work for the city of San Antonio and has been with and ran their program and has been with Bartlett Koch a little over a year now. So we've got strong players on both of those project teams that are going to help us maximize our SMWBE participation. And so far we've had good results. We need to do better, and we'll continue to work at that. But you have my commitment to make that happen.
And we appreciate that. I know, Mark, you provided some contacts with the respective agencies, but from a personal experience, I think you're very approachable. I think a lot of people feel intimidated as a subcontractor or a contractor, or whether you provide professional services, commodity offerings. You can always approach Mark. I think he'll entertain whatever issue or concern. Hopefully there's no issues or concerns, or just to hear what your company's capabilities are and directly point you to the right person who it is that you need to talk to as well. Mark, I appreciate you coming out. It's always an honor and privilege to work and talk to you about your project, what you have going on. Hopefully, as we move further along, there'll be other opportunities as this project progresses, the bid packages to come out. I know I was checking it out, cheating yesterday and going by the different booths. As Mark mentioned, at each booth, there are actually the various packages, depending on where they are, the status of the project.
Right.
Particular areas that subcontract opportunities that you need, or as they fall under what you offer. They are provided on the table. If you don't see it at this time, you may want to ask when it is that they'll be able to have that package for the product or service that you have to offer on that.
Yeah, there will be work awarded over the next few years, because even after we finish the new buildings, there's renovation work that starts in 2013 and 2014. So this is a multi-year. So if not now, then later. There's plenty of work and plenty of opportunities for almost everybody in the hall today.
Yeah. Now, I know you're a busy man. I know there's quite a few layers because of the scope of this project that it entails. But from your perspective, can you provide some insight on how a subcontractor can be successful in working on this project, as far as getting involved with some of the prime players, the general contractors involved with this that you see that can help them get their foot in the door? Sometimes it can be a little intimidating as a subcontractor as far as approaching a contractor, but hearing directly from you, I think will make it a lot easier as far as them approaching one of the contractors and taking part in this project.
Sure. One of the first steps is being here and participating in events like this. So whether it's this event or other events in our community where you're networking, being involved with trade associations, whether it's the Hispanic Contractors Association or ABC or any other organizations where you can network. And the other piece, it's persistence. And you can say that as many times as you need, but you've got to stay engaged. Questions are free, phone calls are free, emails are free. We will respond to those. And so that's part of the way to stay engaged is to keep in front of us, keep in front of our project teams, and so you've got the latest information. We'll do our best to push information out to people, but if you haven't heard something, call, send an email. And if you haven't heard back from our team members, you can always call me. I'm easy to find. 572-5508.
Say that one more time.
572-5508.
And I think one thing that you talked about as far as staying involved, staying in communication, which is a very valuable asset. You'll find out by the booth and by the representatives. One of the key things also too is get into their vendor database, get into where you get the notifications, whether the opportunities that you're waiting for may not present themselves right now, but down the road, depends on where they are as far as the development of the project. I think it's very important to get into the vendor database, that you get the notifications, where they have the bid packages, where they'll be rolling out, where they're more importantly, I really encourage people to actually, contractors, whatever the service that you provide, to attend the pre-bid meetings.
Absolutely.
It allows you to get some face time so you can hear firsthand. And then if there's also a package, I'm sure they're working very hard to break them down. But if it's something that you can't handle by yourself, it's also partnering that can take place with that. So it's important that you go to these pre-bid meetings. One, get registered, you get these notifications, attend the pre-bid meetings, get educated, be aware of what's going on, network, and then hopefully you'll be successful in chasing the opportunities that they have.
Lacy, thank you for mentioning that. If you're not already registered as a vendor with University Health System, go to the University Health System website and get registered. Because if not, our $900+ million capital program, we've got other work that we do through the year, construction related, plus we buy hundreds of millions of dollars of supplies and other services. So we're not just in the construction business right now at University Health System, we're really in the business of providing healthcare. And so there's a whole host of other things that we're interested in that literally everyone in the hall probably has something that we can use. One of the other commitments you have from us on the project side So if you bid on work and you don't get it, don't get discouraged. We'll give debriefs on why you didn't get the work to better prepare you for the next time. So I really encourage you, if you don't get something the first time, keep coming back at it.
Also, we talked about the booth location. It's right here to the front of us, this first row here. The contractors are here, a representative to show how committed they are. And then also, University Health System also has their booth there. Ms. Gabriela Canales, which is the Spot Diversity Coordinator, is there. And Mark mentioned on some of the non-CIP. Mr. Hernandez mentioned this morning, they also have like a $900 million operational budget that they got to purchase out of that. So
Right.
if you're not into construction, I know we're talking about construction. If you're not involved with the construction side of it, University Health System has the other side of it that you can also take part in their non-construction opportunities, non-CIP, their professional services, things of that nature, and they're also is located there as well.
Right.
Mark, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you,
for
sir.
coming out to the Money Talk.
Absolutely.
Hopefully next year we'll do this again, and there'll be more opportunities, more progress, and then hopefully we'll talk about some success stories.
Absolutely.
Some of the contractors that are here that'll be taking part in the projects that you have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Money Talk Show. Our next guest here is Ms. LaVonia Horne-Williams, and she is the DBE Compliance Specialist with Texas Department of Transportation, the Office of Civil Rights. And Ms. Williams, welcome to the Money Talk Show. I believe this is your first time and attending a conference, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is my first time, and this is a very awesome event. I've had an opportunity to walk around, and we also have a booth here with our business outreach program, booth number 413. Please stop by. Everybody's been coming through and giving us real good feedback, and we're hoping we can get more people certified so they can do some federal work with the department.
Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate you being here and also taking part of the Money Talk Show. Hopefully it won't be your last. Now, I'm sure everybody's heard about TxDOT, the projects that they do. I'm pretty sure we see it as we drive it up and down the highways. But if you can, talk a little bit more about your particular office and the importance of the compliance that you do and how it works to benefit small business owners, particularly those that are DBE certified, that are looking to do work, federal work, particularly with TxDOT.
Okay. I work for the Office of Civil Rights, DBE Compliance, and our primary focus is anytime we have projects that are let through our department, and we do a letting once every month. For the month of January, it's coming up on January 4th and 5th. Once the projects are let, we actually monitor those contracts because the federal government assigns what we call DBE goals. So a percentage of the funds that are paid to these prime contractors to perform highway construction projects are supposed to be set aside for small businesses, minority businesses, and women-owned businesses who are certified as DBEs. Our focus at that point is to make sure that these prime contractors are adhering to that portion of their contract with the department. They are to solicit for DBEs. There's a percentage that they need to assign to those DBEs for contracts. And we follow through as the project progresses through our district offices to make sure that the DBEs are performing the work, they're getting paid for the work that they're performing, and that it becomes a very good partnership that's created through that process.
I think you brought up a good point. Obviously, everybody talked about the Money Talk Show and getting paid, which is very important. I think you're a very important person to get to know within the agency, particularly if you're able to do work for the agency, and if you're on a project and there's any complaints and issues, definitely you're the person to know, to take it up on, to help them work it out, to get those issues resolved. But at the same time, you've got to do your part on your end to make sure that you're doing your due diligence as well to make sure that you're successful. Ms. Williams, this is your first time here. What is your goal or objective that you're looking to accomplish today?
The goal and objective today is just to get the word out that we want to make sure that as many of the minority and women-owned businesses that are here today are getting DBE certified. There is work out there for federal projects that we receive money through FHWA. There's money that's received from the FTA and from FAA. And it doesn't matter if you get certified through TxDOT or one of our entities, and there are 6 throughout the state. We want to make sure that once you've done that, you become a part of a listing. It's our DBE directory. And from that listing, every contract that has federal dollars in it, prime contractors will go to that list to find DBEs. So make sure that you get certified, you get your name on that list, and then that helps with your solicitation and trying to be successful in getting work on these federal contracts.
We do have agencies here that are certified your company, if you're not already, as a DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, here within the building. I encourage you to go by there, get the paperwork that you need, make sure you talk to the representatives, find out that you submit the right documentation to get you certified as a DBE. And in particular, and talking about certification, I would encourage you to obtain all the certification that you can on the federal, the local, and state levels. You just never know your clientele and who you intend on doing business, whether it's with a local state agency now or down the road. It's important that you have that certification, because that's one of the first things we ask. And it's not like we wouldn't do business with you, it's just a win-win situation. And it also counts toward those goals that you mentioned as far as accomplishing those projects. I know those goals are determined, I guess they're on a project-by-project basis, right?
Well, first we have what we call our annual goal. The department has to submit to Federal Highway Administration an annual goal of how many of the projects we have, how many DBEs are available, and what percentage we're going to assign for DBE funds for those minority businesses. Each of the projects don't always have goals. It depends upon the amount of work that's available. If we have DBEs that are certified in those areas to perform that work, and then there are the ones that are going to have your basic goals, which range anywhere from 2% to 8%.
Okay. Now I know your involvement with the agency is very critical. We were talking before we came on live about two agencies that are here that you commended on being here and try to really advocate and work on behalf and finding and outreaching with more DBEs. And we mentioned Zachary and then also Hunt. The other company that we talked about.
Right. We've got a lot of prime contractors that we do business with. A couple are here today. You've got Zachary Construction, which is on the other side of the room, and then Clark Construction. They're also here. So anytime you get an opportunity to go by those booths and talk to those prime contractors, they do work with the department. They'll know if they've won some recent contracts, and this could be your opportunity to solicit them for additional work that's upcoming.
Okay. I think a lot of things, some of you small business owners or people that are listening out, Ms. Williams, can you provide, from your experience and overseeing some of these projects, what are some of the key, what kind of insights that you can provide that will allow a DBE to be successful in doing work with your agency?
Well, of course, first and foremost is to be certified. You want to make sure you get certified and maintain your certification. And the way to maintain your certification is that you need to learn what those rules are. 49 CFR Part 26 is the regulation that the department uses as a part of the DBE program to administer that program, to enforce that program, and to make sure that we're compliant to continue receiving those federal funds. So you want to make sure that you have some information on what that entails. Secondly, you need to know your business. You need to know if the type of work that you do is going to be something that's beneficial to these prime contractors that are doing work for TxDOT. We vary from a paving company, asphalt company, you tie rebar, you have trees, you have a tree farm. I mean, you think about all of the work that's in the state of Texas on roadways. We have rest areas, we have maintenance. There's tons of things. So don't think that it's strictly limited to you having to be an actual construction company, because it's not. We have a lot of varying companies.
Okay. The area in which you work in, we hope many of you that do work with the respective agencies that you mentioned on her federal projects really don't have to see you. We really don't want any issues on their projects or anything like that. I know we were talking earlier. Can you talk about or give an example, a success story that you had where maybe a DBE subcontractor that was working on a project that may have had an issue with a larger contractor where your agency actually stepped in to really advocate on behalf of them to really get that issue resolved for them?
Well, I specialize in doing DBE compliance. And so a lot of people would say, oh my God, we've got the TxDOT police. Well, technically, we're the TxDOT police for the DBE. We want to make sure that you're successful. If you get a job, a subcontracting job at one of our prime contracts, paid on time, paid on time, paid on time, we want to make sure that you're performing the work. They're not causing you to be unwilling or unable to do your job. We want to make sure that you do good quality work so that the next time opportunities arise, you've got yourself a perfect reference to be able to use for future work.
Okay. And then you TxDOT, your office do have representatives here in San Antonio, and as well in also in Austin as well, that advocate on behalf of small businesses. Your booth, you're here today. Your booth number
413.
Booth 413. Please go by and see Ms. Williams and her staff. And who else is there with you?
Burdell Collins is here, and he's going to be able to provide you with additional information about our business outreach program. We have a mentor protege program. We have free seminars, webinars. So if you're a currently certified DBE, go by and get a card. It'll give you dates of any upcoming events that we're having. If you are not currently a certified DBE, and we'd love for you to be a certified DBE, please stop by and talk to me. I have applications at the table. We've got flyers. We've got our phone number. And you can always visit us at texdot.gov.
Okay. Now, real quick, you talked about the projects that are let out in January. Do you know that particular date and what that project is, or they can always go by the booth and get that information?
Actually, we have a lot of projects that get let. So it's going to be on January 4th and 5th. And again, all this information's online. If you go to texdot.gov, go to Business with TxDOT, you can look up our letting schedule, and you can look it up for the next 6 months. So make sure that you're visiting that website. It has tons of information for you to be able to try to get business with our agency.
Real quick, just as an announcement, if you want to see and talk with Ms. Williams, you can go by her booth. And then also, she's going to be part of a panel discussion this afternoon at 1:30, doing business with the federal program, federal business. So you get an opportunity, if you don't catch her at the booth, you can actually go in and see her as a panel discussion and continue to learn some more insightful information about doing work with TxDOT. Ms. Williams, it's a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you for attending the Money Talk Show. Thank you for coming to the conference. Hopefully it won't be your last time being here.
Absolutely not. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Money Talk Show, and we're here with our next guest, Mr. Dan Shackleford. He is the Associate Director for Small Business, U.S. Army Medical Command out here at Fort Sam, Houston. And Mr. Shackleford, welcome back to the Money Talk Show.
Thank you very much, Lacy. It's great to be here.
I appreciate you being here. I know you've got a busy schedule. I know you're rushing to get here. We have quite a few people here that are interested to learn more about your agency and some of the opportunities and how they can take advantage of doing work with your respective agency. But also, we've got a relationship. We see each other throughout from time to time. You do quite a bit of outreach and getting out there and letting people know and informing them about doing business with your respective agency. But those that are here and don't know, can you provide a little background about your agency and your role and your staff involvement with that?
Okay, I'm with the Army Medical Command. Today in the news, the war on terrorism, most of the spotlight has been on the field medical units, the medic out there taking care of our soldiers. What most people don't understand is that those field medical units are actually under the command of the field combat commander. We don't control those. The first time a soldier that's been wounded comes under our control is when he comes to a fixed facility, a regular hospital, usually in Europe. One of the problems we've been faced with, the units where the casualty first comes in, but we do control them when they're evacuated. We have resolved that in the medical command by dual hatting our senior surgeon. Lieutenant General Schoemaker is the Surgeon General for the Army. He provides the policy and technical oversight for those field units. He's also the commander of the medical command, so he controls